Hey, product people, it's Mike with Product Collective. And for today's video, I wanted to recall a time where we had Vanathy Lakshmi with us. Now, Vanathy was with Walmart at the time, and she spoke at Industry the Product Conference on what it takes to build internal products. Now, usually when we think about building products, right, we're thinking about customers buying our products and using them. And this is a little different. Internal products, these are products that are built for internal stakeholders. Maybe it's products that your finance team is going to use. Maybe it's a piece of software that, internally it's going to be used for onboarding new employees. It could be many, many different things, but an internal product is something that your colleagues and peers at your company will use, not external customers. And there's a lot of differences between building an internal product and building an external product. And in fact, I recently wrote a whole essay about what the differences are for building internal products. But in Vanathy's talk, she covered lots of things, really. But one of the things that really stood out to me was how important it is to inform your stakeholders along the way, to educate your stakeholders, keep them informed. And when you're building internal products, there are all sorts of stakeholders. There's a lot of people at play that are within your organization that need to be kept up. It extends way beyond your product team. Anyway, before I get too far ahead of myself, I want to cut to a piece of Vanathy's talk. So let's do that right here.
You have to educate your cross-functional team constantly. And when I say cross-functional team, it's not just the product team. It's your UX team. It's your engineering team, it's your customers at times, it's your business partners, it's the n number of stakeholders that you deal with. MVP has such a bad connotation, but you need to identify those scrappy versions of product that you're going to test with. And when you identify these end-to-end journey maps, they clearly help you identify the scrappy versions that you need to go with. And I think overall, at the end of the day, it allows the team to grow really well. So make sure you demystify your scale for your team by building a culture to drive the vision. Ensure they understand what they are doing. And I cannot emphasize this enough. It is the people at the end of the day that is going to make this happen. You are the ones that are going to make it happen. So it's very important that you understand what this is all about. The last one I'm going to touch on is communication. So you know my scope is huge at this point.
Okay, so as Vanathy shared, it's so important to keep all of your internal stakeholders informed. Again, extending way beyond your product team. I mean, we're talking about people in finance, in HR. These are people that usually don't touch product, but these are people that are going to be really involved in the process of building internal products in many different ways. They need to be kept informed. So I want to give you a few different points to consider, maybe a few different recommendations. If you are that product person that maybe you just joined an organization where you're building internal products, maybe you have been building internal products. I'll be preaching to the choir here, but maybe some of these things will either ring true or maybe these will be things that will sort of, get some things going in your mind, maybe jog up some new ideas. That's the whole point of this, right? So first things first, I think it could be really useful to build a stakeholder education roadmap. Okay, just like we have product roadmaps. And in fact, by the way, if you're building internal products, you're still going to have a product roadmap for your internal stakeholders. But create a customer, or rather a stakeholder education roadmap. That's going to be my recommendation here. Basically, it's a structured plan where, you have a roadmap in front of you to educate all the different stakeholders within your organization. You can list out the different groups where, maybe right on your roadmap, it states what their needs are and then how you're going to educate them and tend to those needs. This is something that can be really useful, honestly, for all sorts of products, maybe even, not just internal products, but especially for internal products. I think having a plan in place for how you're going to educate all of the stakeholders is really important. Number two, my recommendation would be to schedule some show and tell sessions. These could be a lot of fun, actually. This is something where you schedule more like an interactive demonstration and you're bringing the different stakeholders in. Maybe you're doing this at different times with different stakeholders, that might be necessary. Some of the products that you're making for one group, maybe it's the marketing group, might be completely different from what you're building for customer success. So maybe having different regularly scheduled, have a regular cadence to it, but regular sessions on show and tell. This way it gets them to see the product. It gets them to feel a little more connected to what it is that you're building. You can showcase progress. Hey, remember what our roadmap is? Here's where we're at towards that roadmap. It gives them something visual. It'll help you get buy-in from these various stakeholders as well. I also think it's really important, especially if you're building internal products, to develop an internal knowledge base. This is something that anybody in your company can turn to become educated on the products that you're building. Now, this might include product information, FAQs, user guides, strategic documents. If it sounds like a lot of work, it is. I'm not going to lie to you. It's a lot of work. But look, if you're building internal products, chances are you're in an organization that is massive, right? Usually it's the kinds of organizations that are at the enterprise level. These are, you might have thousands of colleagues, thousands of peers. So you probably have a team working with you that can help you with this as well. That internal knowledge base, though, is going to be really, really important. And by the way, many companies don't have this. So this is one of those things where if you can develop this, if it could be something that people can turn to, this is a big win for you. This is something you could point to. This is definitely bullet on the resume, not even section on the resume kind of stuff. It's something that could not only make you look good, but really, really help your organization. I'm going to share two more here. The next one would be to establish a stakeholder advisory board. Now, we could be careful with how we're positioning this, be careful about how we're saying how much say this group of people has, but I believe in advisory boards, customer advisory boards, in this case, internal stakeholder advisory boards, right? Like, look, if we're building big, massive products externally, chances are we do have a customer advisory board. It's the same thing here. It's just now our customers are internal stakeholders. So these people, really, ideally, they will act as champions for you. So think about it. If you had one person from every one of these stakeholder groups, these are friends that you have implanted throughout the entire organization that can stand up for you, stand up for product. This not only educates, but it really empowers those stakeholders to take ownership in all of the products that are being built, the success of the product. That's what this can really do. The last recommendation I'll share is to conduct role-specific training workshops, right? Again, if we were building this for external customers, we may have a customer success team that is constantly working with customers to train them on what it takes to use our products and be successful at it. That's what we're going to have to do here with our internal products as well. Maybe you do have a customer success team for your internal products. That would be great. This might be the type of thing that they're doing. If you don't, though, this might be something that you can start to spearhead. And really, each stakeholder, will have different needs. They'll have different training needs as well. So you'll have to keep that in mind. But if finance is receiving training on some cost-saving features, operations, they might need some training on efficiency improvements. It's like, again, if you think about all of the different needs that each of these groups have, you could come up with specific training sessions to help them be more successful at using the products you're building. So just a few ideas. The big takeaway here, though, is that informing, empowering, educating all of your different stakeholder groups, it's so important when you're building internal products. So I hope you take that to heart. All right, I will see you here next time.